Brothers and sisters, we will now see module 2 of the course. சகோதர சகோதரிகளே, நாம் தகவல் பாதுகாப்பு பாடத்தின் இரண்டாம் பாகத்தை कानबोम। भाइयों और बहनों, हम अब सूचना सुरक्षा पाठ के द्वितीय भाग में प्रवेश करेंगे। സഹോദര സഹോദരികളെ, ഇപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് രണ്ടാം ഭാಗത്തെ നോക്കാം. ತಮ್ಮ ತಂಗಿಗಳೇ, ಈಗ ನಾವು ಎರಡನೇ ಭಾಗ ನೋಡೋಣ. ప్రియమైన అన్నలు అక్కలు, మనం ఇప్పుడు రెండవ భాగం చూస్తాము. In the module 2 we will consider and discuss more about information security in today's world. We acknowledge Casey Brian from the Community College of Baltimore County. Some of his slides from the slide share we are used in this presentation. So it's a very, very famous statement. The minute you dial into your internet, your computer is actually exposed. You are actually pushing your computer into an ocean of many computers, and that is where, namely the internet, and that is where your vulnerability starts. So this has to be kept in mind the moment you log on and connect your computer to the internet. The moment you say dial up, or the moment you connect to your broadband, immediately you should understand that now your system is not a standalone system, but is one in a million, and you need to look at protecting your personal computer. You should ensure your privacy and also your identity. This was a very famous statement. I'll just read this statement. The minute you dial into your internet service provider or connect to a DSL or cable modem, you are casting your computer adrift in a sea of millions of other computers, all of which are sharing the world's largest computer network, the internet. Most of those computers are cooperative and well behaved, but some are downright nasty. Only you can make sure your computer is ready for the experience. So this was by Daniel Appelman in his article, Always Use Protection, A Teen's Guide to Safe Computing. It's a book. So in this module we will basically talk about how to protect your personal computer. What are all the simple things that you need to do technically to protect your personal computer, so that you are not bothered by the nasty computers that are there along with you in the internet, and at the same time you do not allow your computer to become nasty through unauthorized software being installed and trying to cause some issues. So that would be the first part of module 1, protecting your personal computer. The way we go about this particular part of module 2 is we will look at the current challenges in information security, the current challenges specifically from the point of view of a personal computing machine, and then we will look at some of the proposed solutions. We will look at how effective are these proposed solutions in addressing the problem of security and also some of the weakness, and then we will also look at what are the skills that we expect out of IT professionals of different levels. IT professionals who just use a system for doing certain activities, IT professionals who develop software, IT professionals who maintain data, who are custodians of data. So the different profiles of IT professionals and their skill sets from a security point of view, we will also look at it in some detail during this lecture. Note that information system is the backbone of any organization, and you need to understand its importance, because it is important because a flaw in that would essentially remove the trust on the organization, basically the customer's trust on the organization. it can cause major legal issues. If you have a good understanding, you can increase your organization can show a better productivity, and it also helps you in taking very effective business decisions. Your business decision is based on the information that you have. The capability for you to interpret raw data in a meaningful manner so that it could influence your business decisions. And if you have security, you are very sure that your data there is an integrity in your data, so and only authorized people have access it. So if you have a data with lot of integrity, then it can certainly help you in making correct and effective business decisions. So now looking at an organization where there are a lot of people and we need to secure people, and how do we secure these people? We go and make their end machines, the client machines or their PCs very secure, and that is why we started talking about it is not just the PC that you use at home, it is also the PC that you use at office, and how do you go and secure this PC? What is the main challenge? What are the main challenges, technology challenges that will make your life complicated, that will make securing a PC very difficult? Now let us look at that in a little more depth. Number one is, today attacking a system has become fast. Fast from two angles. One thing is, internet has become very fast. So if a worm has to spread, it can now spread at gigabit speed or terabit speed. It has large pipelines where the worm can now spread. Though the internet has expanded, has grown in capacity in terms of bandwidth and throughput over years for the benefit so that we access information fast, but the flip side of it is, when in an unsecured network, your virus can also spread very fast. Similarly, the other way of attacking is to go and decrypt your key or go and quickly guess your password. Now your password has to become stronger and stronger because now the compute speeds are quite high. The cost per million instruction per second is sub-dollar today. So you have machines with lot of memory and lot of processing power with more than one core or CPU core in a small chip today. Even your mobile phones today come with either 2 CPUs or 4 CPUs. We call it as 2 core or 4 cores, quad core or dual core. So with such type of increased speed, one can quickly go and do even a slightly naive things like brute force method and break your password. They can go and break your cryptography, they can go and break your encryption. So that is also another vulnerability today. That is also another challenge today. So the speed of the internet and the speed of the system today pose major challenge for you to contain, prevent, avoid viruses. The next thing is, there is lot of sophistication in attacks. People have started understanding, suppose you look at an operating system that runs for millions of lines of code, and it is practically impossible for us to look at the entire 1 million line of code and look for vulnerabilities there. So people now start understanding many of these, and they could come out with more sophisticated attacks. So these naive attacks have gone. If you want to understand an attack, it takes quite a bit of time. Probably it can become a 1 month lecture to go from basics to understand an attack. So the sophistication of attacks have indeed become much more complex. And there is also a very quick detection of weaknesses. Suppose a software is released today, within days, not even weeks, within days, within a week, all the vulnerabilities of that essentially are understood. and this is mainly because we have large compute power to go and look into the system. Now the other issue is that the attacks are not originating from a single place. If it is originating from a single place, then it is probably easy to go and contain it. Now we have something like a distributed attacks. Attacks can originate from different places and attack different destinations, not a single source and a single destination attack. It can be multi-source and multi-destination attack. And suppose I understand that there is a vulnerability, there is a virus going around in the internet, and the softwares I use may have made patches to stop the virus from affecting the system. Now there are a lot of difficulties in actually going and patching. We will list some of the difficulties as we go through this lecture, and that is another technology challenge. So increased speed of internet and computers, more sophistication in attacks, faster detection of weaknesses by the adversary, distributed attacks and difficulties of patching pose severe technological challenges today to address even the last end mile security, namely security of the client machine or the personal computers that users use to connect and do the computing. Now given all these challenges, what are all the different ways by which the PC can be attacked? It can be an identity theft where your password, your personal information is compromised. It can be a malware, it is a software, it is a malicious software, or it can be patch management failures. Patches from a security point of view are put to see that certain vulnerabilities are removed or that certain vulnerabilities are addressed. So there are some ways, there are many valid reasons, many practical reasons for how a patch management could fail. And another interesting thing is the distributed denial of service or DDoS. So these are all very commonly reported in the recent past and today some of the latest attack trends. Now we will look at these trends, namely identity theft, malware, patch management failure and DDoS in some detail as we proceed. Identity theft, going and finding somebody's password and username and password, is the crime of the 21st century. And what do you lose when you lose your password or when you lose your username password? One of the things, the simple or the very quick damage one can do, and the reason why this is being done today, why it has become a crime, is that people, once they steal the identity, they go and do something with your money. They go and purchase something from your credit card, they change your email ID, then what happens ultimately? You have not purchased anything with your credit card, and so you do not go and pay anything, but then over a period of time you get a notice and your credit rating is spoiled. So you need to spend lot more time to go and tell, so tomorrow you go for a loan, your credit rating might be not good, and so banks may deny loans. The other damage, so you have to fix your credit rating. So these are some things which are quite common nowadays. There are bad emails, so they log into your account and send a very quote unquote bad email which can land you up in unimaginable problems. And you may lose access to your accounts, meaning you will lose access to your data, you will lose access to what all you have done. For many, email is an account of what they have done. Email is the information that they have. Usage of if they lose the emails, then they lose lot of information. So loss of access to accounts, and it can also be a banking account. You lose access, and you lose access on a weekend, and so you need to wait for 2 days to get back your access to the account. So this is certainly a security vulnerability because it comes under the availability of the CIA, which are the 3 goals of security. And one other thing is that they could go and manipulate the data if they get access before retrieval. So if you look at these 4 points of what identity theft could damage, you actually lose all the 3. You lose confidentiality, and since you lost confidentiality, your data can be changed, so the integrity is lost, and then one can go and change your password and make things not available to you. So there can be an availability issue. So confidentiality, integrity and availability are basically the 3 goals of security. All these 3 goals can be compromised the moment I have an identity theft. One another very interesting way of stealing identity, of getting your login and password, say of your Gmail account, is by what we call as phishing. So phishing is nothing but phishing, phishing for information. So how does this come? One of the things is you get an unknown email, but that email is sort of very disturbing. We will see down the line there was a virus which said here is a mail from some FBI and you have accessed illegal sites. So immediately tell your login and password so that we see that you don't land up in problem. You get really perturbed and you send all your details. So one of these emails, we will see one such very interesting case study down the line. The other interesting thing is that nowadays when you see browsers, specifically on your mobile, the exact URL does not come on the URL link, rather some header comes there. Now people have been playing with this URL to actually steal information, actually steal identity. This is one example as you see on the screen. So we send an email and say now log in to your Gmail by clicking here, and when you click here, that place, instead of going to www.gmail.com, it can go to www.gmai, that numeral 1.com. And since fonts are small and probably you don't really look in too closely, you may think that the first one, www.gmai1.com, looks like gmail.com. So you go and click there, and what happens there, the exact screen of Gmail is actually put in that www.gmai1.com. So you go and log in and give your password. It looks exactly like Gmail. So the moment you give the password and your login and password, then immediately you press the submit button, then the software is in the web software is configured in such a way that it says wrong login, password incorrect, and take you to the original Gmail page. It redirects to your original Gmail page. Before it redirects to the original Gmail page, it actually stores the username and password before redirecting it to the original Gmail page. So what happens there? When you go to, so the next time you go to the original Gmail page, you go and put your username and password, it automatically logs in. So what you think is, because password also is not shown on screen, maybe you think you have entered the password wrongly and you do it next. But what has happened here is that you did not go to gmail.com to start with, you went to gmai1.com, there you gave your username and password, that fellow stole it, and then he redirected you to gmail.com, the original gmail.com, with the with a message that you have entered a wrong password, and you go there and log in and go. So you don't notice that you have done something here, and this, when it goes unnoticed, the hacker can basically get your identity, your username and password. So by this what happens, you actually lost your identity. So, this is a very, very interesting simple case study that is reported well in literature. Whenever we think of identity threat, I remember the movie Diwar, Amitabh Bachchan and Shashi Kapoor. So, there is a very famous dialogue there. Amitabh says, मेरे पास बंगला है, गाड़ी है, बैंक बैलेंस है, क्या है तुम्हारे पास? Shashi Kapoor replies, मेरे पास माँ है. If you look at today's Diwar, Amitabh may say, मेरे पास एंटीवायरस है, फायरवॉल है, ब्रॉडबैंड है, क्रेडिट कार्ड है, क्या है तुम्हारे पास? Shashi will say, मेरे पास तुम्हारा पासवर्ड है भैया. I hope you will not lose your password. What happens if you lose your password? This is a survey done by the Identity Theft Resource Center. Note that there is a resource center for identity theft. It was found out 2 years before report that a victim actually spends an average of more than 600 hours and around $1,400 out of pocket expenses to restore their credit by contacting credit bureaus, cancelling credit cards and negotiating with creditors, proving that it was an identity theft, they were not responsible, and at least not get a bad negative report for their credit rating. So, this is one very, very important thing that people have to keep in mind. So, password is password and it has to be a password and it has to be maintained nicely. In the next session, we will see about other technological advances and other viruses, namely the malware. Thank you.